my book and wax friends. I am Amber. Welcome to my channel and to a bookish video. So this is a book challenge video, a quick to judge book challenge where I am going to read the first paragraph of I have 6 books. It's 5 to 10 books you're supposed to choose, and then read the first paragraph and decide ranking wise which one you find the most interesting, so you can figure out what your next read is. And so it looked like a lot of fun. I watched Chelsea from Libraries and Lattes do it, and I was like, this looks like a blast to do. So I am going to do it as well. So as I said, I picked 6 books. I have a couple of fantasy romance, a couple historical romance, and a couple women's fiction there's a little romance in those too. So let's get to it. The first one I have to read the first paragraph is The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White. This is actually on my official TBR for the month of May, and it's one that I was feeling. And so I was like, I think this one may be a good one that I could possibly see myself picking up next. So let's get to it. There is just chapter 1 in this one. Oh, and I'll read a couple of paragraphs because the first paragraph is actually just a sentence. So let's read a couple. There was nothing in the world as magical and terrifying as a girl on the cusp of womanhood. This particular girl had never before felt the power she held by existing in a space of men. But today, surrounded by them, it radiated from her. I am untouchable. They revolved around her as though she were the earth, and they the adoring but distant sun and moon and stars. It was a type of magic in and of itself. All right, that is intriguing. So this is a fantasy reimagining type of version of the King Arthur legend. And Guinevere, from the synopsis that I read, she is actually fae, is from my understanding. So I like it so far. So that is a contender for sure. Okay, the next one I have is a historical romance. It is The Siren of Sussex by Mimi Matthews. So let's see what this one is going to be. Okay. This says London, England, March 1862. Evelyn Maltravers entered the dimly lit shop in Conduit Street. A modest sign above the door proclaimed the names and trade of the proprietors, Messrs. Doyle and Heppenstall, tailors. The interior of the shop was equally modest, a small showroom furnished with a pair of plump leather chairs, a trifold mirror, and a tall counter of polished mahogany. Gas wall sconces cast a diffuse glow over the fabric shelved behind it. Rolls of superfine cloth in subdued shades of black, brown, and blue. All right, so not a ton happening in that first paragraph, but we know that we are in a tailor at the tailor, so we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. Okay, then the next one I have is The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley by Courtney Walsh. This is a women's fiction. And let's see what happens in this one. Okay, so this one has very short just sentences, so I'll just read a few. Isadora Bentley is shopping for her final meal. If I were a character in a novel, this is what the author would write. Because it's true, I am. Not a character in a novel, of course, but a soon-to-be stiff. A dead ringer for a dead ringer. Plus, if I were a character in a novel, my name would be Estella or Hazel, and I'd be thinner. Okay, I'm being dramatic. Turning 30 isn't the end, at least not of my actual life, just of my hopes and dreams. I'm pretty sure I saw them swirling down the drain last week, along with my dignity. All right, that sounds fun. I am very much intrigued about that one. Okay, then let's see. Okay, the next one is also a fantasy romantasy, A Dawn of Onyx. This is by Kate Golden. And I picked this one because I've attempted to read it a few times. I haven't actually opened it up and read it, but I've checked it out from the library a couple times. And so I was like, this one would be perfect. So if it really catches my interest from the first paragraph, then maybe this will be the time to actually get to this one. Okay. Ryder and Howden were probably dead. Good first sentence for sure. I wasn't sure what was making me feel sicker, finally admitting that truth to myself, or my aching, burning lungs. The misery of the latter was, admittedly, self-induced. This section of my morning run was always the most brutal, but today marked 1 year since the letters had stopped coming. And while I'd sworn not to think the worst until there was reason to, the epistolary silence was hard to argue with. Ooh, I'm intrigued. Okay, so I don't know who those, I'm assuming maybe brothers. Riker and Howden are probably her brothers. I don't know, but I am intrigued by that one for sure. Okay, next, let's do A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting, and this is by Sophie Irwin, and it's another historical romance. So let me get to the first paragraph of this one. Okay. This says, Netley Cottage, Biddington, Dorsetshire, 1818. All right. So I heard this is kind of like a love letter to Pride and Prejudice, and I love Jane Austen, so this really had me because of that. Okay. It says, you're not going to marry me, Miss Talbot repeated disbelievingly. Afraid not, Mr. Charles Linfield replied, his expression set in a kind of bracingly apologetic grimace. The sort one might wear when confessing you no longer attend a friend's birthday party, rather than ending a 2-year engagement. Ooh, all right, harsh. 2 years engaged, and he is dropping her. Okay. And then my last one is The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie by Rachel Linden. I've heard such good things about this one, and I absolutely adore the cover. So I was like, I need to check this one out for sure. Okay, this is a women's fiction with some magical realism thrown in, is what I've heard. All right. My life is a lemon. I faced the truth afresh, bent over a cold stainless steel mixing bowl, whipping egg whites and sugar into stiff French meringue peaks. I always forget to bring my reading glasses when I'm about to read, so that's why I might say some wrong words. Lolly's life goal number 2, my sister Daphne read aloud, perched on the stool across the gleaming stainless steel prep counter of the diner's kitchen. She paused and eyed the list of adolescent ambition a far younger me had optimistically scribbled in sparkly purple gel pen in my middle school diary. All right, so that is that one. Okay, let me decide now. From just the first paragraph, so I'll rank them least interested to most interested. I have to say my least interested is The Siren of Sussex. It was just talking about being in a tailor's store. Not much happened in those paragraphs. So probably this one. And then I would have to say, I'm thinking The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie would be next. I do really want to get to this one, but the first paragraphs really didn't grab me like some of the others did. Okay. Then probably, although I did like the little, like blurb about breaking off a 2-year engagement, compared to the other three, I think this would be next, The Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting. So I'm not going with a historical romance right now, I guess. So that leaves 2 fantasy / romantasy and the women's fiction. Okay, so let's see. A Dawn of Onyx, which was talking about brothers or somebody possibly being dead. Then we have this one where she's talking about being powerful. Or we have a funny about her feeling like her life is over, a bunch of humor for sure. Okay, I'm thinking third on the list is probably A Dawn of Onyx. Definitely a little more interested now that I did read that paragraph, but still not there yet. Okay, so that means it's between these two. Do I want, let's see, which one? About being powerful, or one that has a lot of humor? It really already was tickling my funny bone in those first chapters, or the first paragraphs. I think, and this is mainly, they're pretty tied, but this is mainly because I am reading fantasy right now, so I want to change it up. I think this is going to be second, even though it is on my TBR. I will get to it, and it does really intrigue me. I think I'm going to read The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley next. It really grabbed me from those first few sentences, and it will be interesting to see with that type of humor how this one is going to be. And I haven't actually ever read Courtney Walsh, and I've been wanting to. I actually bought a book of hers for Valentine's Day and then never got around to reading it. But I know she writes fun, humorous, clean type of romance and women's lit books, and those are my cup of tea for sure. So I think I'm going to go with this one. So I'm excited to jump into this for sure, but I will eventually get to those other books, especially the Guinevere Deception, soon. Since it's on my TBR, especially that one. So thank you so much. I tag you if you do want to do something like this. It was a lot of fun. It's fun judging a book just by how much it grabs you within the first paragraph or so. It was a lot of fun. So, and definitely check out Chelsea's channel. I will link that down below so you can check her out too. She has some fabulous content too. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Please like and subscribe if you haven't yet for more book and home fragrance content. And until next time, TTFN, ta-ta for now.